I think he will likely stay. I do think that look, we're three guys analyzing it and figuring out sort of the same thing with McNeil, which means that he still has a lot of upside left, I think. And he could be more like the 2019 hitter from an average standpoint, maybe a little bit less power. So I think there's going to be a lot of teams out there interested in a guy like McNeil. The trade as a trade chip, he can have a lot of value because he can play a lot of different positions, as we've seen, and he can do an efficient job at second base, at third base if needed, and in the outfield spots as well. So I think that they have a good trade chip in there, but I see the Mets hanging on to him and giving him one more round to be a guy that they can fit into any spot.
And Todd brought up the fact that he can play a lot of positions. So what do you do with him defensively if he does indeed stay?
Well, a lot depends what they do this winter, Chris, how much they upgrade this roster. He is a guy, though, that's proven he can play a lot of positions, infield and outfield, and I think he's at least adequate at all of them. He was playing a pretty good second base last year before Baez moved in there. So we'll see. I just think he's still not making a lot of money, so I wouldn't give up on him yet. I would maybe explore the trade market, but you're kind of selling low at this point, and I just think he's too much of a pure hitter not to figure it out and still be a real asset for this team.
Yeah, I actually think there's still some value there, on the trade market. And for me, what I saw with this guy and what I've actually seen with him over his entire career, I haven't loved the antics kind of after he makes an out, the yelling, the cursing, the throwing the bats, whatever it is. It's just not something that, I've appreciated much as a player. Look, at times you get angry, things happen, but with him, it's just consistent. It's every time he makes an out, it gets old. You can kind of see it wearing on the rest of his teammates, it seemed like. This year he had, obviously, something outside of a raccoon or whatever the raccoon that happened, and they won't necessarily tell us exactly what it was, but clearly something happened in this clubhouse that involved him. I think I've seen enough of that. To me, as someone who would be on that team, I would be more than happy to see him move on. I think he'll do better elsewhere, but I think that's okay. You get what you can for him, and you try to build that clubhouse chemistry the way they also need it. Find the leaders, find the type of people that they need in there, and you can also find production. I'm big on having a guy who's versatile, but I don't think this is the right guy for this team anymore.